In today's video, we're going to talk about the differences in clickers, the pros and cons of each type, when you would use each type, how to adjust them, differences to look out for, and ultimately just going over all the differences so you can choose which clicker you want to use. If you're new here, my name's Jake Kaminsky. I'm a two-time Olympic silver medalist in the sport of archery. We're going to make this channel a great resource to all types of archery, ultimately just trying to make you a better archer and eliminate the growing pains that I had when I was coming up in this sport. If you haven't by now, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is uploaded. I'm pumping out a lot of content lately and you don't want to miss out on what I've got coming out. You're watching the Jake Kaminsky YouTube channel. So I've had a lot of questions specifically about different types of clickers, which ones to use for different styles of shooting or different age groups and brackets. And basically there's a lot of differences in some of them and some things to look out for. And ultimately I'm just going to go over the basics of each different type and benefits to each. Okay, so there are just a few differences in the clickers themselves. There is a riser-mounted clicker, a sight-mounted clicker, and then there is a string-driven clicker as well. But basically, we're going to cover the first two in this video. Basically, the main clicker that is used by high-level, top-tier archers is the riser-mounted clicker. All it is just a really thin blade that the arrow is drawn and the clicker clicks against the riser. Now it's riser mounted, meaning that this screw here will screw into your riser. It'll actually screw into your riser right here into this hole, so the clicker will be mounted like this on the riser itself. Now pretty much every top level archer uses this style of clicker because they cut their arrows to be basically the perfect length for them. But if you're shooting arrows that are really long for you, like if you're a young archer and you're waiting to grow into your arrows, you're shooting really stiff arrows and you want to break down the spine, so you're shooting them really long, your limitation is going to be how far the clicker can move out away from the riser and still have the clicker be able to click like this. Now, you won't be able to get too far out unless you switch to a sight-mounted clicker. So a sight-mounted clicker is something like this. You can see that there is this click here. It is driven by magnets, and there are V-blocks on this side that clamp down onto the sight bar itself. So it clamps onto this piece, and you can slide it forward and back on your sight bar to adjust your draw length, essentially. These are very popular with youth-level archers or archers shooting really long arrows. And you can actually bend them and get them even further out from your sight bar if you need to, like I did on this particular one. Now there are versions to this clicker that will mount underneath the sight bar itself and it'll click from over here. That is another option. I wouldn't necessarily call that a riser or sight mounted. It's just another accessory type of clicker. But those are basically the main two differences between a riser mounted and a sight mounted clicker and why you would choose either. Now within each type of clicker, there is the magnet style clicker, which is this one, which uses actually a magnet to pull the clicker down and hold it down like this. And then there is a blade style clicker. This is a blade style. It is a piece of thin spring steel that is your clicker, and the click action is from the bending of that spring steel itself, not from a pivot of a magnet. Okay, so I'm gonna do some close-up videos here now and show you what the differences are, the small fine details of each type, and that way you'll be able to pick a better clicker for yourself. Okay, so as you can see, these are the different style clickers we just went over. What I'm gonna cover first is the sight-mounted style clicker. Now, these two are both sight-mounted style clickers. These are both from AAE. This one has the V-blocks that mount on the sight bar. And as you can see, there are different length blocks here to adjust on this section to basically fit pretty much every sight out on the market. That way it'll clamp to the sight because everyone's slightly different. Now, this one is the magnet style. There's a magnet here as well as a magnet there and there to make it click. This style that is also sight mounted is your regular blade style. You can adjust the height of it here, plus this whole thing slides up and down, and essentially this is a blade style clicker mounted on your sight. Now I designed this along with AAE I was using some really crude prototypes that I was playing with before, but this makes it much more simple. This is the actual original one out on the market, unlike some other ones that are out there that was a copy of this design, and they gave no credit to AAE, unfortunately. So if you're going to pick up one of these blade style ones that are mounted on your site, please get it from AAE. They're the original ones. I worked with them to design it, and I'm very proud of it because there was nothing like it out on the market at the time. So why would I choose this one over that one? This is your average basic type of clicker, but watch this here when I wiggle it back and forth. See that play? Something I wouldn't necessarily trust, because when you extend it all the way out here, that's moving a lot. That might be changing my draw length from shot to shot. I went away from this style when I was shooting really long arrows like 27-12s at Vegas and went to this style because of that reason. When this is tightened down, there is no play at all. No inconsistencies in the way that your clicker is clicking, so your draw length's not changing. Also, if you're a youth archer, eventually you're going to go to a riser mounted clicker like these two, which are blade designs. So you might as well start with a blade design and get used to this feel and the sound of a blade style clicker instead of this style, which is very different. It also tends to bounce and rattle a lot louder, totally different sound than these. So if you're gonna go sight, get yourself one of these. Now, I will be recommending some of these products in some links down in the description below. Those are Amazon affiliate links. So when you click on those links, I do get a percentage of sales. That helps this channel out, allows me to continue to make free content for everybody at home. And also I do get a percentage of sales on anything that is bought within 24 hours of clicking that link, even if it's not archery equipment. So thank you to those who are clicking on those links and doing their Amazon shopping. Now with the riser style clickers, there are a lot of options. There are your regular spring steel clickers like this, and there are your carbon fiber options. This is a win-and-win one that's made out of carbon fiber with a metal tip. So it's got a slightly different sound to it because it's carbon fiber. Plus it's carbon fiber, it's cool. Anyway, that's an option. This one just spins into the actual riser itself, into that mounting hole that I pointed out earlier. But then I worked on with AAE to design a micro adjustable clicker. Now this clicker mounts underneath the sight bar. That's why there's these two slots. So you can adjust it forward to back, and then you can loosen this up and then adjust the clicks with this micro click here. Each click is 0.03 of an inch, and this was a big advantage for me for a couple of reasons. Say you start the beginning of the day and you're having a hard time getting through your clicker despite your clicker being set in the proper position from practice, you can loosen this up and I can click it 3, 4, 5 clicks, whatever, tighten it back down. Now I'm used to my clicker being farther forward, but what if I realize, oh, my shoulder is a little high, I need to set that back down. Now I got to move my clicker back. With this style, it's just a guess. You have no real exact perfect mark. With this, I click it, give my 4 clicks back, I'm done. Back to the exact place I was before. I like this. I was a fan of this, came up with this with them. I'm really happy with it. I actually just left this tight the whole time and just adjusted it here. That way it never vibrated on me or came loose. Yes, there is a little bit of a backlash here. It's not as accurate as a sight because sights have, a lot of engineering behind them. These, you can really only do so much in this small little package. So there's a click and a half of backlash from what I have told you. So that means if I'm moving my clicker back, it takes me 1 click plus a half or 1 more to now start moving forward again. There's 1 click of backlash essentially. So this is just a different option compared to a regular mounted clicker on the riser. And again, like I said, if you're going to go sight mounted, go with something like this. That's a blade clicker because you'll get used to the feel of this, the sound of it, and ultimately I believe it's more accurate because of this here. So that about covers it for clickers, but I do want to take a moment to announce that I am now accepting pre-sales and pre-orders on my book, Tuning for Performance. It covers everything plus a whole lot more that I've covered in the tuning series on how to make you a better shooter for recurve style shooting. There's everything from arrow building to fletching selection, setting your tiller, walk back tuning, fine tuning, stabilizer setup, you name it. It's all in there. It's available right now for pre-sale on my website, jakaminsky.com. There's a link in the description below. Plus, I'll put a card up at the top right here for you to check that out. All of the copies that are bought during pre-sale are going to be signed and sent to you. So that that goes for even international shooters as well. Finally figured out a really good bulk international mailing service, so that'll really help out. But again, like I said, pre-sales are available now. Link in the description below.
Thanks for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you want to become a Patreon supporter or check out books, apparel, and some seminar info, head to jakaminsky.com, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you again.